what you heard, what you saw, and what you know.
She's fair.
I don't have a hearing problem. This ear works good. This one works even better.
She's firm.
I'm not responsible for that ticket, and I'm not going to pay for it.
Who says you're not going to pay for it? I make that decision, not you.
She's honest.
What you have to say?
All I have to
Nothing.
say.
This is Justice with Judge Mablean. Shelley Nellie Jordan is suing Olivia McKeithen in the amount of $700. Ms. Jordan claims Ms. McKeithen pawned her off to a junior stylist who gave her a bad hair weave. Ms. McKeithen claims Ms. Jordan showed up for an emergency fix, and the only way she could accommodate the plaintiff was to have a new stylist do the prep.
Shelley Jordan versus Olivia McKeithen?
McKeithen.
And you're suing for what we call a bad hair weave, huh?
Yes, Your Honor.
You said that the defendant's hairstylist did a terrible job on your hair, and you want them to pay you $700.
Yes, Your Honor.
Tell me what happened.
She's been doing my hair ever since I was younger. You know, I had to go to a funeral, and she was booked the day before, but I texted her to let her know I need a rush situation. I need my hair done. And she said that she was booked. So knowing that she's like a sister to me, I just walked in the next day, and she said, okay, well, I'm booked right now, and that, you know, I can have my junior assistant start you off by washing my hair, blow drying it, conditioning, you know, the usual, and then braid it up in a beehive.
So you called her the night before for an appointment the next day for a full hair weave?
Yes, Your Honor.
Long like that?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. So she asked, and that's about a 3-4 hour job, right?
Yes.
Minimum.
Minimum, yes.
Mm-hmm. So she asked the assistant to get started to wash your hair,
Right.
condition it, braid it, and get it ready.
Yes.
What'd you say then?
I said, okay. As soon as, you know, he started, I thought it was pretty good. I did think it was pretty good. But it turned around, and like, for her, she has to sew in my weave because he's not licensed to sew my weave in. She is. We did that, and then turned around, she sewed it in. It didn't take that long, but it was long enough to where it ran into my train time.
Ran into your what?
My train time, because I was supposed to go on a train to go to D.C.
So not only did you come in for the same day, you came in with a specific time frame.
Yes, Your Honor.
How much time did you have?
About 5.5 hours.
And how far were you? How much time did it take to get to the train?
About 25 minutes.
So you had about 5 hours.
Right.
Really? Okay. So now your sister starts sewing in the weave. What happened?
So she starts sewing in the weave, and it came out.
I don't mean your sister, like a sister.
Like a sister, right.
Mm-hmm.
She starts sewing in my weave, and she finishes. So after that, I leave to go catch the train. I immediately go on a train. I wrap my hair up. I go to sleep, because it's a 14-hour ride from where I'm coming from to where I'm going. So I fell asleep, woke up the next morning. My head was pounding as if someone was dragging me around by my head, and it was hurting so bad. I called her and said that, okay, I think your assistant did my hair a little too tight. Like
braided it too tight.
Braided it too tight. It hurts so badly. I explained to her, yeah, it was a 14-hour ride. You know, I slept sitting up against the window because I don't want to lay down. And then from there, she was like, just take an aspirin. It's probably because of the stress or the train ride or your scarf being too tight. So I did take an aspirin, then went to the funeral. My head was pounding very bad at the funeral, that I was crying really hard. So what I did was, my sister was in town, and from there she referred me to somebody that was in D.C. So from there, the lady said that she seen, like, you know, my edges was coming. You could see my edges being pulled back. My closure piece was lifting up. So it just looked really bad, like nobody even done anything to it. I've never had this problem with her as how many years I've been going to her.
Coming up on Justice with Judge Mablean.
She's making accusations saying that it was too tight. So obviously she always checks my work before and after. I get done touching a client and she approved of my work.
And later,
She called me for another vehicle. As I was approaching that other vehicle, I saw this truck that was, in a visitor parking lot, and I didn't see a decal. So I did a double check, and I let her know about it, and she told me to tell her that as well.
Justice with Judge Mablean. If you'll be in the Los Angeles area and want to bring your case to court, call 1-888-552-6878. You're watching Justice with Judge Mablean. We're back with the case of Shelly Nellie Jordan, who is suing Olivia McKeithen for $700.
So what happened?
I got it re-braided into a beehive, re-sewn in to a
Well, you had to
different
get it
look.
taken out first.
Right. So I got it taken out. This was what she did. Your Honor, this is what she did.
I don't need to see that. You told me what y'all know what a weave is and how it's done.
So from there, I got it redone.
You had to pay this other lady to do it. Is that
Yes,
what
I
you're
did.
saying?
Yes,
Get
I did.
to the point.
Yes, I did.
What'd
have
you
to
pay the other lady?
I paid the other lady $325.
And so you want the $325 that you paid her plus the money you paid your the defendant?
Yes, Your Honor.
So that's how we get to $700?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Talk to me.
She had texted me the night before, that Friday night, texted me that she needed an appointment for the next day. I told her I was all booked
So
up.
everything she said was true? She was all booked up. You couldn't do it. She walked in. You gave it to the junior stylist. Right?
Correct.
Okay, so now what?
Okay, so
Maybe I need to talk to the junior stylist.
Okay.
Come on up, junior stylist.
How you
Because
doing,
these
Your
two
Honor?
ladies having a hard time communicating with me.
As you can see, she's lying.
I can
And
see that.
She is,
I
Your
don't see
Honor.
lying.
You can't see lying, but she is, Your Honor. When she came into the office, peaceful as usual before she enters. The loud, obnoxious Shelly Nellie. She always enters loud, abrupt, very
I'm not
rude.
obnoxious.
She always,
Very,
she's
very
always-
rude, Your
I'm
Honor.
not obnoxious.
Very
Well,
rude.
I tell you what, you're being rude now.
Sorry, Your Honor.
Your Honor, she...
Being rude now.
In order to get to my salon, you have to go through a barbershop. And she just come in, just rushing in, not saying hi to anyone, and just
Why
being
you couldn't
rude.
talk when I was talking to you? When he starts talking, you remember all this. So I don't need both of you to tell me. I like the way he talks better. I'm going to let him tell me.
Well, Your Honor, she came into the store, as usual, loud, obnoxious, even offending customers, rude. I got to get my hair done. I got to go. All this other stuff. As you can tell in that picture, Your Honor, she's smiling. That's after we did her hair. I do take the photos as well, working in the salon. I've been working for Olivia for 2 years and also going to school to get my cosmetology license. I got it.
I only have the before picture.
Here you
right
go.
here.
It's right
Oh.
here, Your Honor.
What did you do to her hair?
Well, Your Honor, her hair is not the easiest hair to work with, first off. So I had to get some hot water, hot towel, pat it down, get it loose, comb it out, which took me a good 15, 20 minutes, to be honest. Then, of course, I had to wash it, dry it, and then I braided it into a beehive.
All right. And that took you about, what, 2 hours?
About
The whole process?
About an hour and 45 minutes, you can
Okay.
say.
All right.
So after braiding it, first of all, she's making accusations saying that it was too tight. The way Olivia taught me, and the way I was trained, not to make it too tight, but just enough so it can be easy to sew in, because you don't want to damage the scalp. So obviously, she always checks my work before and after I get done touching a client, and she approved of my work. So she did the beehive, and she sewed it up, and then she
So
went on
you
about her
did
business.
to the beehive phase, and then she did the sewing. Ms.
That is
McCree.
correct.
Okay, so your work is ended. Sit down.
Yes, ma'am.
Now back to you. You're sewing the weave in. Any
Before-
complaints?
No complaints at all.
Did she tell you it's too tight?
Nope. As I was sewing it in, before I even sewed it in, I always check his work. It was perfect, a mirror of my own work. I've been doing her hair since I was 13. I know exactly.
Is this
if it
you
looked
smiling
too
and,
tight.
and looking pretty?
Yes.
The picture that he took.
Afterwards.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, did she tell you anything was wrong with it? Did she tell you it's too clunky in the top, the beehive's too high? Did she complain about anything while you were sewing her hair in?
Not one complaint.
Okay. Okay, so now, sewing process is just like you sewing a piece of clothing, right? You stick the needle through the hair, and you pull the thread through, right?
Correct.
And you just keep on doing that, going around, right?
Yes, correct.
Okay. Hurts, right? Gives you a headache when it's first done. This wasn't your first day at the rodeo. You've had had your hair weaved before?
Yeah.
Right?
Right.
You know you have a headache after your hair is weaved.
But not this bad of a headache, Your Honor. It was 10 times
You
worse.
compound your hair weaving, the stress of rushing, the death of your grandmother, tying a
wasn't
scarf
her real
around your head as soon as you get it done, sleeping on a train with your head like this to one side. Add all of those factors together, headache.
Yeah.
You know that woman didn't do anything wrong with your hair. Please, judgment for the defendant.
Judge Mablean has ruled in favor of the defendant. The plaintiff's claim has been dismissed.
The judge set you straight. I can't believe you brought me in here for a bad weave.
You know he jacked my head up. But you don't have to ever worry about me ever coming to your salon ever again.
Coming up.
She called me for another vehicle. As I was approaching that other vehicle, I saw this truck that was, in a visitor parking lot, and I didn't see a decal. So I did a double check, and I let her know about it, and she told me to tell her that as well.
Justice with Judge Mablean. You're watching Justice with Judge Mablean. Carl Kim is suing Jake Moore in the amount of $1,098.50. Mr. Kim claims Mr. Moore towed his car from his apartment complex without just cause. Mr. Moore claims the parking regulations are clearly marked, and he only towed the plaintiff's car after he got a call from security.
This is a matter of Carl Kim versus Jake Moore. And Mr. Kim, you're suing Mr. Moore because he had your car towed, right?
Yes, Your Honor.
And you don't think that was right?
Yes, because my car was parked legally and my car was towed. So
Okay, so tell me the circumstances. If your car was parked illegally and this tow truck driver towed your car.
well, Friday night I finished my 16-hour shift. We had a long day, so me and my coworkers went to get a couple of beers. After we came back, since my friend Ray was tired and he wanted to stay over, I had him park this car. But since the visitors parking lot, they were going to tow the cars at 11:59 p.m., I went over to the security guard and told him that my friend is going to stay over. So we both spoke about it, and the security guard told me it was going to be okay. So I put my parking pass in his car, and then...
And where did he park the car?
We went over this with the security guard, and he parked his car in my parking lot. And then
your space?
In my space. And then I parked my car in the visitors' parking space.
But you were staying overnight?
Yes.
In the visitors' parking space, you have to be out of there by 11:59?
11:59.
But you're saying the security guard for the complex allowed you to do it and said it was okay?
Yes. Yes, ma'am.
So if it was okay, then why did you have to put your car in visitors' parking?
I just thought he could park in my space, and then I will park in the visitor space. Then I wake up next morning to run some errands. I go to the parking lot. I can't find my car. So I was looking around, and then I couldn't find my car, so I went to the security guard's stand, and they told me that my car was towed.
Same security guard as the night before?
No, ma'am.
Okay. So which security guard did you speak to that told you it was okay?
I spoke to Trey. That was
And
there
where is
last
Trey
night.
now?
He's not here.
So who are you suing, the tow truck company?
Yes, the tow
I
truck
don't know
company.
why.
Why are you suing him?
Because obviously I went over it with the security guards, and they said it was going to be okay, but still my car was towed.
Okay, tow truck company, tell me your side of the story.
Well, about 6 months ago, a new bar opened up across from the complex at Trinity Hills Complex, and I already had an 8-year contract with them. So they sent out an email, and I have that, Your Honor, saying that pretty much a lot of people that goes to the bar are parking over there, and they're taking up all the spaces illegally. So they're going to crack down, and everybody had to have a decal. So this particular night, around 11:59, I was in the area. So they gave me the information, and I was in the area, and the security guard right here, my witness, she called me for another vehicle. As I was approaching that other vehicle, I saw this truck that was, in a visitor parking lot, and I didn't see a decal. So I did a double check, and I let her know about it, and she told me to tell her that as well.
Coming up.
On the night of questioning, this Mr. Kim, he had his car parked in a visitor parking space, and we didn't see a decal.
Closed captioning provided by. You're watching Justice with Judge Mablean. We're back with the case of Carl Kim, who is suing Jake Moore for $1,098.50.
How much you get per car?
Well, it's $122.50 for the initial hour, then $61 every half hour after that.
$61 every half hour?
Yeah, I mean.
After you tow?
I mean, it's California law. I mean, I'm not making.
Wait. You tow somebody's car?
Yes.
It's $122.50.
Yes, for the first hour.
And so every half hour thereafter that the car is in your tow yard is $61?
Yes, ma'am.
Good God from glory. What do you have to say, ma'am?
Hi.
What's your name?
My name is Stacy.
Stacy what?
Stacy Pointer.
Okay, Ms. Portner, what do you have to say?
Well, I am a security guard at Trinity Hills. I've been working there for about 4 years now. And on the night in questioning, this Mr. Kim, he had his car parked in the visitor parking space, and we didn't see a decal.
Were you the one on duty the night before that told him he could park there and it would be okay?
No, that was another security guard named Trey.
Did you ever have a conversation with Trey to confirm whether it was true or not true?
After the shift, he didn't tell me anything about it. He didn't leave a note.
Oh, so you replaced Trey that night?
Yes, ma'am.
So that's where this $1,098.50 come in from?
Yes, ma'am.
So why are you suing the tow truck company? Why did you sue the apartment complex?
I went over it with the security guard, and still they towed my car. I mean, the security guard should have left a note or something, but still they have my my apartment suite number, my personal information, my license plate number, and everything, and still
So
they
they
took
should
my
have
car.
looked it up to make sure that you were one of the tenants.
Before towing my car.
Really?
I mean, because I lived there.
You have a decal you're supposed to have in your car.
But it was in my friend's car.
Right, because you wanted to play a trick and let your friend park.
But since I was a resident, I thought I was going to be okay in the visitors parking lot.
Oh.
And we spoke about...
Are you a visitor?
No, ma'am.
You tried to play a little game on the complex.
No, I didn't
Y'all
try
pretend to be the visitor, and I'm going to let him stay in my space, and then that way, since they know I live here, they won't tow me. But it backfired on you.
Judge Mablean's verdict when Justice with Judge Mablean returns. Promotional consideration provided by. You're watching Justice with Judge Mablean.
So you know who you should be asking to pay you this money? Your friend, who you let stay overnight, share the blame, but you've sued the wrong defendant. If anyone is guilty of it, it would be the apartment complex owner or management, not the tow truck driver. He simply follows orders. They call him and say, hey, come tow this car. So judgment for the defendant.
Judge Mablean has ruled in favor of the defendant. The plaintiff's claim has been dismissed.
I will take the judge's advice and go after the apartment complex, but I still think you were wrong for towing my car.
The judge's decision was right. If you wasn't playing parking lot games, you never would have been towed.
This has been a production of Entertainment.
Justice with Judge Mablean will be life, because in everything we do, it involves the law. You came to court to testify about what you heard, what you saw, and what you know.
She's fair.
I don't have a hearing problem. This ear works good. This one works even better.
She's firm.
I'm not responsible for that ticket, and I'm not going to pay for it.
Who says you're not going to pay for it? I make that decision, not you.
She's honest.
What you have to say?
All I have to
Nothing.
say.
This is Justice with Judge Mablean. Maria de la Cruz is suing Caroline Snodley on behalf of St. Xavier Catholic School in the amount of $20,000. She believes her civil rights were violated when the defendant fired her for having a child out of wedlock.
All parties are sworn in, Your Honor.
Thank you. You may be seated. This is the matter of Maria de la Cruz versus Caroline Snodley on behalf of St. Xavier Catholic School. And Ms. de la Cruz, you're suing the school for $20,000. What happened?
Well, I believe that I was wrongfully terminated by having a child out of wedlock.
You were a teacher at a Catholic school?
Yes, for 9 years.
Okay. And what happened?
And And I had a child. I've been with my boyfriend for 5 years that I've been living with, and we had a child. We planned to get married. Unfortunately, he turned violence on me, mentally and physically, that we had to go on our separate ways.
You had the child before you were terminated?
Yes. The child is 5 months old.
And the school terminated you on what premise, Ms. Notley?
On the premise that she broke her moral code of conduct that's in her employment contract, that she signed, she's fully aware of.
Now, was she terminated while she was pregnant or after she delivered?
She was terminated 4 months into the pregnancy. I think it's important to understand that I received many phone calls from parents of the students in her class with a rumor that she was pregnant. We had no idea that she was pregnant.
So how would the parents of the students know that she was pregnant? And she's coming to school every day and you guys don't know.
I was going to let them know.
The students told their parents, and the parents called the Board of Regents. And we started to investigate, and we had a meeting, and we had to come to a decision.
You didn't know, you couldn't tell that she was pregnant, is that it?
Well, I'm not in her class. I'm the president of the Board of Regents, so I represent the community in this case.
All right, so the Board of Regents received calls. The parents received statements from the students saying that she was pregnant. The parents called the school called the Board of Regents. You all had a meeting, decided to terminate her for violation of the morals code, the moral conduct code.
Yes.
May I see that code?
Yes, Your Honor.
Do you recall signing a morals conduct code when you became an employee of the school?
Yes, I sure do, 9 years ago.
And do you recall what that moral conduct code said and what it prohibited?
Yes.
What did it say?
They don't believe in having a child without not being married.
The Code of Conduct, Your Honor, states that improper or immoral behavior, according to our institution at St. Xavier Catholic School, or according to the word of our Lord.
So what's the immoral behavior according to the school or the word of your Lord?
We believe it's pregnancy out of wedlock.
Okay.
I'm also
so
devoted
you believe that no
Catholic.
fornication, right?
We believe it's a mortal sin to engage in
and
sex
also
and
it is a mortal
Yes, Your
sin to
Honor.
have an abortion. I am a devoted Catholic that I don't believe in abortion.
So you have a moral sin to abort and a moral sin to engage in sexual behavior. We call it fornication without the benefit of marriage.
That's right.
And so she violated the moral sin of fornication.
Yes, Your Honor.
And does that apply for both male and females?
It does, Your Honor.
Conduct that is considered to be inappropriate or immoral with regard to any of the aforementioned institutional standards or the word of the Lord will not be tolerated and could be subject to fiscal or disciplinary punishment. So it doesn't say, is she entitled to a hearing? Did she have a hearing of any kind?
No, Your Honor, we had
Did you
a
ever
meeting
meet
of...
with her?
No, Your Honor. We had a meeting of the Board of Regents, which included Father O'Malley, so 2 other members and myself. We received over 10 phone calls out of 20 students from parents.
I got that, but who? You didn't know she was pregnant. You didn't see her as pregnant. So who confirmed her pregnancy if you didn't bring her before the Board of Regents?
Well, I went down to her classroom, pulled her out of class, and fired her on the spot when I saw that she was showing.
So she wasn't able to come to the hearing and say anything?
There was no hearing, Your Honor.
How did you know she wasn't married?
We heard
it
about...
doesn't take long to
Yes,
get married.
exactly. We planned to get married.
How did you know at the termination meeting that you and the board went to, how did you all come to the conclusion that she was unmarried and that her pregnancy was fornicated, was an act of fornication?
Well, we heard from the parents of the children.
Heard from the parents?
Yes, Your Honor.
How they know how she got pregnant? Were they there?
No, Your Honor.
You're not telling me that an intelligent board of regents from a prestigious Catholic school took the word of parents that someone was pregnant and unmarried and never confirmed from the person herself? Are you telling me that?
Well, Your Honor, this is a very small community. There are only 250 students. Everybody knows everybody's business.
Coming up on Justice with Judge Mablean.
The immoral behavior was pregnant outside of marriage. Where is the proof she was pregnant outside of marriage prior to the termination?
It was impossible not to see that she was pregnant.
And later.
And then I heard a terrifying sound. I ran to the corner and I saw that air conditioner fall on my dog.
Justice with Judge Mablean. You're watching Justice with Judge Mablean. We're back with the case of Maria de la Cruz, who is suing Caroline Snodley on behalf of St. Xavier Catholic School for wrongful termination.
Let me talk to your witness. What you have to say, Mr. Sir? Come forward.
Yeah,
Mr. Soriano, what's your role here?
Well, I've been teaching at this Catholic school for 10 years now, and I've known Miss Maria. I mean, she has been an exemplary teacher. I mean, the kids look up to her. So when I hear about this marriage thing or this pregnancy thing, it's like totally shocked. But what I see as an experienced teacher right there in the front lines, right there in the battlefield, I see that she is a role model to the children. In fact, a lot of these kids have gone on to prestigious universities because of her tutelage, Your Honor.
What about that? When you say she's not a good role model.
Your Honor, we're not talking about her teaching now. We're talking about her moral character and breaking the moral code.
What if somebody curses at students? What you do about that?
That's
you don't
improper.
call that immoral?
She'd be caught up. Yes, she'd be called up on the board.
What about forgiveness? She's not entitled to forgiveness for her wrongs, for what is wrong. Where's the forgiveness?
We're not questioning.
So couldn't you have just suspended her during the last 4 months?
We don't think she's a good role model as she takes a baby out of wedlock to term.
It is the 21st century. It is against biblical principles to have and become pregnant outside of marriage. It's called fornication. You get pregnant because you're fornicating. Fornicating is having sex without the benefit of marriage, and you're well aware of that code, and you're well aware of the Catholic belief, and you live together for 5 years with the man. Here's my confusion, is that you lived with him for 5 years, and no one bothered to ask what you were doing. And here's what puzzles me more, is that you did not confirm prior to the termination that you had grounds. You took hearsay from parents. You took hearsay from students and everybody else that this woman wasn't married. You didn't even bother to confirm your facts before you terminated her. You at least should have gone to her and say, you know what, we've heard, and can you tell us what the circumstances are? Because she could have gotten married out of state. It only takes, a second to get married. It took a long time to get married, but you did not confirm the facts. You say, I terminated her because of immoral behavior. The immoral behavior was pregnant outside of marriage. Where is the proof she was pregnant outside of marriage prior to the termination?
It was impossible not to see that she was pregnant.
You didn't know whether she was married or not, though.
That's true.
Oh, so since that's true, you terminated her at that point without cause because you didn't have the facts.
It was a firestorm.
Well, here's the bigger firestorm. Pay her $20,000.
Thank you, Your Honor.
That's the order of the court.
You.
All rise. Judge Mablean has ruled in favor of the plaintiff. The defendant is ordered to pay $20,000.
I'm happy with my baby, and I'm happy to not work for you.
You just should have followed our moral code.
Coming up.
And then I heard a terrifying sound, like a bomb was falling from the sky, and I saw that air conditioner fall on my dog.
Justice with Judge Mablean. You're watching Justice with Judge Mablean. Marcia Petrov is suing her landlord, Jeff Anderson, in the amount of $2,150. She claims the defendant is responsible for an air conditioning unit that fell on her dog and killed it.
In the matter of Marcia Petrov versus Jeff Anderson, suing for $2,150 because the air conditioner killed your dog?
Yes, Your Honor.
Wow, that's a new one. How did this happen?
I took my dog, as usually, in my purse, dog purse, for a walk. And then my dog, unfortunately, saw a squirrel and jump out from the purse and run after the squirrel into that very corner. And then I saw, and then I heard a terrifying sound, like a bomb was falling from the sky. And then the sounds of my poor dog crying for help. I ran to the corner and I saw that air conditioner from the 3rd floor fall on my dog.
Okay, the air conditioner from the 3rd floor of where? Take me back. Where were you walking the dog?
Is that our
In my
apartment complex?
courtyard.
In your apartment courtyard?
Yes, exactly.
Okay. And it was a 3-story building?
Yes.
And you said you had the dog, you took him out of his bag, his carrier. Why did you have the dog in the carrier?
Because dogs are against the rules, Your Honor.
Against what rules?
Against the rules of the apartment.
Oh, you live in the same building?
I am the landlord and the owner.
Oh.
This is correct.
Okay, Mr. Landlord and owner, tell me what was going on. So you were installing an air conditioner or something?
No, Your Honor. I have owned and operated it for the last 10 years. Okay? The specific unit that the conditioner fell from is owned by a gentleman named Mark.
Okay.
He's a handyman. Okay? Anytime he needs to fix anything in his unit, I let him do it.
Okay.
I inspect it after he, does it or repairs it, and everything is okay. Everything is up to code. Everything is done correctly.
So this tenant was repairing an air conditioner or replacing or installing one?
Correct. There was an air conditioner on his unit that had broke. Okay. So he needed to remove the old one and install the new one.
Okay.
And he asked me if I was okay with him doing that, and as he had done work like that before, I said yes. And I looked at it after he had installed it completely, and it was done correctly. Okay.
Well, you said something about dogs are not permitted on the property.
Dogs are not permitted. Neither are cats. Okay. What happened to her dog was an unfortunate freak accident. The plaintiff has my fullest apologies and sympathies, but this entire case is based on her breaking the rules.
And what rules were those? The rules of the tenancy?
Rule number 5 at Hudson Terrace.
Let me see.
And that is the signed and dated rule sheet, Your Honor. Rule number 5, Hudson Terrace does not allow dogs or cats to live on the premises. Signed and dated by the plaintiff. She has known this entire time that dogs are not allowed at the apartments. Okay? You hear from her own mouth that she has to walk her dog in a bag to keep it from being seen. Okay? Mind you,
no, she didn't say all that yet. I asked her why was the dog in the bag, but she didn't answer me yet. Now I'm going to ask her again. Why was your dog in the bag?
Because
in your apartment courtyard.
Because the dog is not permitted in the facility.
And you have a dog living in your apartment building?
Yes.
And the landlord didn't know it?
No.
How long have you been hiding this dog in the apartment?
Because my dog is a very well-trained companion. It's not just any wild dog. It's my soulmate.
Coming up.
Your landlord should have been made aware of it. Sounds like you were sneaking the dog.
Closed captioning provided by. You're watching Justice with Judge Mablean. We're back with the case of Marsha Petrov, who is suing Jeff Anderson for emotional distress.
Do you have, I know there are all kind of rules regarding dogs these days, and there is something that's called the companionship dog. Of course, you have the dog for seeing eye, for disabled, but for each of those, you have to get a certificate and say that you and that certificate has to be given to you by a doctor, and you have to carry it at all times. And certainly, if that was the case, your landlord should have been made aware of it because you should have shown it to him.
Yes.
Sounds like you were sneaking the dog.
Yes, Your Honor.
So when you moved in and you signed this agreement,
yes,
you lied.
Partially. Because
Partially?
For me, it's not a dog. If you know...
Well, you know, a dog is a dog is a dog. Now, what it means to you is different than what a dog means to me.
Exactly.
But a dog is a dog is a dog. Now, you treat it like a child. You play with it like a child. You can do anything else with it and pretend that it's a child.
It's not a child for me. It's not a child.
Huh?
For me, it's not a child.
What is it to you?
It's a savior. Because after my very hard divorce with my very abusive husband, I have found only one saver. It's a dog.
One companion.
One companion who loves me unconditionally, who never humiliate me.
They say all dogs love their owners unconditionally. That's why it said dog is a man's best friend.
Yes.
Let me see
That's what
that
I want to
dog, the
say.
picture of your loving dog.
Yes, please. This dog cannot harm anyone.
What's it? Oh, it is a cute little poodle.
Yes,
Is that a
it is.
poodle? I don't know one dog from the other. What is it? I said poodle,
It's
honey.
a
Please
York.
forgive me.
It's a York.
It's a York.
Yes, and his name was Mongo.
What?
Mongo.
Mongo.
Yes, it was his name.
Is that a pedigree? One of those special dogs? They cost a lot. Cost about $2,000-3,000. Is that what you had?
It's a pretty expensive dog.
Judge Mablean's verdict when Justice with Judge Mablean returns. Promotional consideration provided by. You're watching Justice with Judge Mablean.
I empathize with you, but if the dog had not been where the dog was not supposed to be, and that was because of you, the dog would not have been killed. So you contributed to the death of the dog because you had the dog at an apartment complex where he was not supposed to be. The person installing the air conditioner was doing what he was allowed to do, and there was an accident. And he may have been pushing it out the window. I don't know. But the point is, it's not his responsibility for the death of your dog because your dog was in a place that he did not belong at that time. So I do judgment for the defendant. But what I'm going to suggest to you, since dogs have such an emotional appeal to you, is before you purchase it, when you purchase another one, make sure you get that certification from your doctor, all right? So you'll be able to have it with you at all times. So judgment for the defendant.
All rise.
Judge Mablean has ruled in favor of the defendant. The plaintiff's claim is denied.
I don't know how this case even got this far. The judge did the right thing.
I believe that people and their feelings should go first before new rules.
This has been a production of Entertainment Studio.